Okay, another video, and all I can say is that I told you so. Obviously, with the release of the Flash movie, and obviously in regards of the website comicbook.movie.com, and obviously the key writer Josh Wilding. Now, surprise, surprise. Obviously started making negative articles about it, and that kind of wasn't surprising. Now, if you go back on my videos where I've done videos about comic book movie, stuff to do with Josh Wilding, and then obviously stuff to do with Shills, I did sit there and say exactly what he was gonna do when the movie was released, and shock horror, it's exactly what I said he was gonna do. And this is why obviously I know that I'm only a small time YouTuber, obviously compared to him, obviously that works on the site, which is viewed upon by thousands upon thousands of people. So I'm a speck of dust compared to that site. But I've been proven yet again about my integrity and my honesty, and how I've called out how he was gonna be, and now again I was right. And then how I'm gonna sit there and even have more backup to prove in how he is. Obviously the Marvel series Secret Invasion obviously comes out, and then you saw him the other day, yesterday, wetted himself, which is not surprise that he was going to do that. Now, what I do find funny about him is that isn't it very, very strange how when Marvel movies have underperformed, he goes very, very, very quiet about it. So I'll give you 3 of the Marvel movies, and one of them especially, which will exactly prove my point, and you can look up for yourself in backing up my evidence. The first movie, Black Widow, obviously we know the stuff behind that, and how that wasn't well received, and then before the movie was released, you saw how quickly Josh Wilding was bootlicking the movie until obviously it all came out, and then obviously it underperformed, and then all the problems behind the scenes problems with the actual movie. And then within a week, obviously after it dropped off after its first and second week, in terms of the box office takens, he stopped making articles about it. Shocked and surprised there. Again, Eternals, exactly the same thing there, where exactly the same thing, and then you guessed it, stopped talking about it. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, exactly the same thing there, where yet again stopped talking about it. And then as soon as it slowed down in the box office numbers, he stopped talking about it, even though he praised how good the movie was. But then he stopped talking about it. And surprise, surprise, obviously he did it with the movie. He's already done one article in regards of one article that he's done today, where he said, 5 things that didn't make sense in a sense of the movie. Now again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't sit there and kind of say kind of anything. I'm hoping maybe to see it next week, hopefully. But yeah, why is it that he always does his articles where it's 5 things that didn't make any sense, and he puts me in big letters and then highlights it in red? Because obviously he wants the movie to bomb on purpose, right? Then he makes another article in the same day where he puts Rotten Tomato numbers dropping since the movie's been released. Now it's funny how he never did this with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, where if you look at the current Rotten Tomato scores, it's at 56%, right? And then as soon as it got the actual Rotten Tomato score started to drop, after more and more people saw the movie, and then obviously, well, according to the critics, that they didn't like it as well as what they thought it would, then it started dropping off. Isn't it funny how he stopped doing articles on Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and then never mentioned that the actual Rotten Tomatoes numbers were actually dropping. And I remember that when it got to the first and second week of the box office takings, and then the movie just dropped and was slowing down, he stopped making articles about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. He totally stopped. Right? He's not even a proper Marvel shill. Because most shills, what they usually do, whether it's in movies or even in gaming, they'll defend something even when the particular thing is crap. But what he does this clever little trick, where what he does is that as soon as it underperforms, especially when it's something Marvel, he stops talking. He stops making articles about it, sweeps it under the carpet, and then keeps making these pointless articles and arse-licking that particular movie. The guy is so predictable. And then what I feel, why I hold my head up high is I've totally proven how the guy is, and how what he does is that him and that site do is that they do things intentionally. And as I said before, and I'm calling him out, that he should have the bollocks to admit that he only likes Marvel. In fact, I would have more respect for him and that site if they just admitted that they just prefer the Marvel formula, which some people do. Some people just prefer the PlayStation format. Some people prefer Xbox. Some people prefer Nintendo. Some people, like myself, like all three. But some people just dedicate themselves just to Xbox or just to PlayStation. And that's fine, because you're admitting that that's what you're actually doing. But he hasn't got the bollocks to admit that he's pro Marvel, and anything that comes out that is DC related, he wants it to fail. He even does it with the DC animated movies as well. And he hasn't got the bollocks to admit it. And what makes me kind of not pissed off, should I say, is that more and more people don't sit there and don't see what this guy is clearly doing. God, I mean, I don't know who's worse, Josh Wilding or Trump, although they're both idiots. But it's like people cannot see what this guy is doing. And then, as I said before, if you go back on all my YouTube videos, everything that I've said about him is what has been 100% correct. And I called it out before the Flash movie came out, that I knew it was going to do. And when the Blue Beetle movie comes out and the Aquaman movie comes out, he's going to do exactly the same thing. And he is so predictable. And that's why it kind of gets me a little bit upset, where I've got my YouTube channel and it's small and growing in numbers slowly but surely. And then I pride myself on integrity and honesty when it comes to my channel. I don't, when it comes to reviewing products, movies, video games, food. You don't sit there and see me bootlicking companies because I don't work for them. I do not have shares in those companies, and then they don't owe me anything. All I am is a consumer. And if I sit there and I think that these companies are taking the piss, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna call it out, even if it's a company that I like. I'm gonna call it out because I've got the integrity and the honesty to sit there to call something for what it actually is. And Josh Wilding can't even admit to how and what he really is, and that him and the comic book movie are just utter Marvel shills. I don't know if it's because of the fact that the Secret Invasion series hasn't come out. It's not coming out for another week. I don't know when it's coming out, and he's probably seen it early. And then I don't know if it's because that they're too frightened of upsetting Disney and stroke Marvel, because then they're not gonna get free merchandise or see the films early or the TV shows early, so they have to sit there and they have to bootlick these companies. Otherwise, they're not gonna be given all these free goodies. But to me, even if my YouTube channel became really big, right, I am not gonna sell my soul to any of these companies, so that I can get free gear or see things for free, because these companies don't own me. I'm my own man, and I don't care I don't care whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Nintendo. Xbox, PlayStation, Apple, whoever companies it is, or even my football team, Tottenham Hotspur, right? I don't care who it is that with the companies that I like, or even companies like Nike, who I love wearing their trainers, and I've worn probably all my life. If I sit there and I feel that these products are utter crap, and they're not very good, or they're not worth the money that that the product is, I'm not going to sit there and blow smoke up people's rear end and tell them that all the vitamin is good. You see me do food reviews of McDonald's, and sometimes I've said the burgers have been absolutely great, and sometimes I've told you that the burgers or the other products have been absolute crap. I'm not going to sit there and tell you and sit there and pretend to go, oh look, it's absolutely delicious, when the product isn't, or if the particular product that I may be reviewing or unboxing isn't worth the money that I've paid for it. All you're gonna get from me is pure honesty. And sometimes it frustrates me sometimes, where I'm just a small YouTuber trying to sit there and go out my way in being honest and being objective on certain things. And then you get people like Josh Wilding and sites like Comic Book Marvel that get all the glory for sitting there, for not being honest with people, and for just bootlicking and not even being honest by what in their job in terms of what they're doing. That's the reason why I don't bother with things like the news and stuff like that, because all of them are just biased. None of them are going to sit there and then tell you the truth. And to me, that's what's in my life, in my short years on this planet, that's always what's got me in trouble in this world, in the sense of the fact that I'm always telling the truth. And I feel like sometimes that when you tell the truth about a particular thing, you get penalised for telling the truth. And when you start telling lies, like most of these politicians, you get rewarded for telling lies and not being honest. But as I said, Josh Whedon for me, and comic book and movie, I've proved my point. And if you still the people out there who've maybe not watched my videos, go back, take your time, and go through my videos, and you can see by the dates of when I've uploaded them, where I've proven and what I've been saying about Josh Whedon and comic book movie has been 100% correct.